Hello and welcome to episode 70 of Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry, and here at Learn, Do, Become, we help people who are drowning in the details of life to create simple systems so that we can all do what matters most. Today, my husband Eric and I are sharing an amazing interview with our dear friend Britt Seva from brittseva.com. We talk a lot about getting organized here at Learn, Do, Become, and about building our STEP Command Central. But today's interview with Britt is something totally different, more along the lines of life architecture, which is Eric's passion. Britt is actually an amazing online leader for hairstylists. Now, Eric and I are not hairstylists, and you might be wondering, what does this have to do with me wanting to get my life organized and create my ideal future? Well, it's actually very related, and here's why. We brought Britt on the podcast because she embodies the growth mindset we're always talking about here at Learn to Become. You will never hear Britt say, "Oh, that's too hard," or "I can't do that," or "those dreams are for someone else." She is someone who identifies what she really wants for her life, and then she does what it takes to make it happen. And things have not been easy for her. She has had to work for what she has, but what she's developed and the character she's created and everything you're going to notice about her in the podcast is seriously amazing. So that is what we want for our community at Learn to Become. Now, in this interview, you're going to hear Britt's story, and it's probably going to be very different from your own story, but the takeaways you'll get as you hear Britt's tenacity and creativity is going to stay with you for a long time. We will have links to how you can learn more about Britt and links talking about everything we discuss in the podcast at learndobecome.com/episode 70. That's 70. Yay! So excited we're here. So enjoy. All right, we are so privileged today to have Britt Seva. Welcome, Britt.
April, Eric, I am beyond honored to be here. I feel like this is the podcast that's been about 3 years in the making. I have just loved you and your community from the moment I met you both. So it's truly my pleasure to be here today.
Oh, thank you. I was going to start with the chant. Britt Seva,
Britt Seva, Britt Seva. Okay, well, so Eric and I met Britt, was it 3 years ago? Yeah. Something like that. And we were so impressed with her energy, her desire to learn, how incredible she is and has continued to become, over the past few years.
Yeah, we met her in a small group where we're trying to learn how to kind of build our communities and better serve and support them. And every time we talked with Britt, she always just had things that she was saying or sharing that we just learned from.
And she was growing.
Yeah, she was growing personally and her community as well. And it was just so much fun to sit down and just listen to her and learn from her. So we're so glad we have the chance to interview her on the podcast today.
And then on the other side, every time, Britt serves people who, well, maybe introduce yourself. You serve people who, I was going to say who cut hair, but it's more than that.
Way more than that.
Share?
It is a lot of that, though. That is accurate. I call myself by trade a hairstylist business coach, but you're right. That. It's so much more than that. And I like to empower stylists, salon owners, and men and women in general just to know that they can achieve anything they want to in the career that they've chosen. And in my industry of choice, stylists and salon owners, it's an industry that often gets written off. It's an industry that is seen as one of struggle and that you're very limited on your potential and that it's almost like a cop-out. Like somebody would choose to become a hairstylist because they couldn't do anything more. And it's got like this glass ceiling that can't be broken through. And I just don't believe that. It's not anything I've seen personally. I broke through it and I know others can as well. And I just like to empower stylists to live their biggest, best, wealthiest life. And for me, the idea of wealth isn't about money. It's about love, health, time. Money comes along with that, but just truly living their wealthiest life in a very well-rounded way.
Well, just as a side little anecdote, we were talking before the recording started that we have a few people we've met over the years who cut hair, and we asked them if they know Britt Seva, and they're like, "Of course I know Britt Seva. Do you guys know Britt Seva?"
We have a Britt Seva fan
and it was
club.
Actually kind of fun because there's this awesome person who cuts my hair, and I was talking to her. We were talking about Britt, and she was talking about some of her dreams and some of her goals, and it wasn't just in the salon space. There were some of those goals, but it was awesome to hear some of her other life goals.
Like
and we started, and experiences in life and things like that. And we just started talking in the chair. I'm sitting there getting my hair cut, but we're like visioning together. I'm just thinking, all the stuff that Britt teaches and shares, she's benefiting from it. It's kind of fun to hear her starting to develop and create this plan this kind of process she wants to follow to kind of move in the direction of those dreams. So it is just awesome, the work that you're doing.
Well, and today we're not talking just about business owners. We're not talking just about hairstylists. We're talking mostly about how you create a mindset where you believe that you can change, you can grow, you can become a better version of yourself. And just to step back, I mean, And
we're doing this with Britt because Britt is amazing.
Britt's amazing. We love her. And the thing is, first of all, just looking at our personal hairstylist, the people we go to for a haircut or whatever, it's super important to find the right person. Eric, in fact, he scours whatever city we live in to find the right person.
I don't like having to do my hair, so if I can find the person who can cut it the same way every time without any variation.
It means a lot, though.
So when we live somewhere else, we actually have the same person probably for upwards of 10 years.
Yeah.
And we're into a third year with this individual, and I'm hoping, since as we're living where we live now, we can have that be a very, very long relationship.
Because I tried cutting Eric's hair for the first, I don't know, what year of our marriage?
It doesn't play well.
Oh, it was so
it's not
bad.
Good for the marriage. It's just not good for anybody.
And the little story, I don't know if we've ever put this online, is that I cut his hair when he was going to school. And he goes to a class one day right after I'd given him a haircut. And some people in the class were instant messaging each other about his bad haircut.
Oh, no.
That was a tough week.
Terrible.
It's all good, man.
I'm like, Eric, seriously, we've got to stop this. I cannot do this. I'm not trained for this
seriously,
anyway.
the ability to cut and style hair well is an art. It is a gift.
But
thank you for appreciating the art and the gift. It's so true. Can I ask you,
Yes.
Eric, okay, so when you're looking for a new stylist, or April too, what is it that you guys are looking for? Is there anything in particular that really stands out to you?
Oh, good question.
That is a great question.
I already know mine.
Go ahead, you
think
start.
about it for a minute. Okay, so number one, I want someone I don't feel uncomfortable with. Someone who's going to try to pressure me to do things I don't want, or buy products I don't want, or have to come back more often than I want. I don't know. I just don't want pressure. I want it to be like my decision, what I want. And then I want someone who doesn't want to just sit there and complain to me the whole time they're cutting my hair. Because I had one person I went to, and I honestly felt like it was the biggest drain. Every time I went and sat down, she was just going to complain about her life. I'm like, I just can't deal with it. So, and I want to leave obviously feeling good about my hair.
Oh my gosh, I so agree with all of that. Do you feel like you want to share and connect with your stylist, but you want to be in the driver's seat of what is being shared?
I want to learn more about them, and I want them to care about me as a person. I'm not looking to just sit there and do all the talking or anything like that, but I just don't want to feel like they are just going to unload on me, while I'm sitting there.
I so agree with everything you say. I think it really is just a human relationship, almost like the relationship you and I have. And it's not a friendship. It's a different relationship, but it is a two-way relationship. Nobody wants to just be dumped on or sold to. Yeah. It really is about that human connection.
Yeah. And I would like to be friends with my hairdresser. And Eric, what would you say?
Well, I'm not quite as demanding or exacting as April is. But I think you want a stylist who's personable, right? And who can connect well with you, but who can also read moods, right? Because maybe one day you're going in for a haircut and you're not feeling particularly talkative.
Yeah.
And other times you are, and there's that give and take and stuff. So that might be one of the factors. The other is that they are skilled, right? They have that talent and that gift they've developed, and they kind of know what you want. I know in some of these places they'll kind of have it on file, so they can kind of pull it up each time, which is a helpful reminder. But I remember the one where we used to live, she spoke Spanish, and I speak Spanish too, so our whole conversation would be in Spanish. But I loved it because at the end of the haircut, she knew exactly what I want. She didn't have to ask questions anymore, right? It was just in sync. And at the end, you just knew that she was going to say, ¿Quieres tantita gel? Like, do you want a little bit of gel at the end? And I would just look at her before she even said, I said, sí. Like, there was just like mind reading there. And the same thing here today. They offer a little bit of a scalp massage and a little hot towel.
He gets all excited about it.
They said, do you want product in your hair? And it's just like, I just look at her and she doesn't have to ask the 3 questions anymore. It's like, yes, it's a great scalp massage with either tea tree oil or lime. And or the hot rag for sure. And then, yes, a little bit of product would be great.
And a bottle of water as you leave.
They give a free bottle of water as well. So it's just nice. You just find a place you're comfortable and they just kind of know you. It's kind of like being Norm in Cheers. Exactly. You walk in, they just know what your needs are, what your preferences are, and they just make it happen. So.
Eric, can I say I appreciate your point of view so much. A lot of stylists have a really difficult time knowing what a man wants when he comes into the salon. Like for women, we know ourselves so well that it's fairly easy. And I always try and tell them, like, men love to be spoiled too. Give them the head massage.
They do. I think they do.
towel.
And I think men are also, maybe even more than women, just creatures of habit, which maybe isn't helpful. But if you can figure out what each of your clients' habits are and just like, okay, I know that Bob likes this and Jeff likes this. just, okay. And it's very simple. Maybe guys aren't as communicative or verbal, but if they know, okay, I'm going to go there and this is going to happen, it's going to be great. It's like, oh, you'll have a loyal customer for life. Trust me on that. I know.
I love it. I love it.
But the reason why I'm so excited about what you're doing is because, like Eric was mentioning, we were talking with one of our hairstylists and asking her, like, hey, what are your goals? What are things that you're working towards? And she was feeling a little bit overwhelmed, like, oh, there's so much information out there. You know, if you want to grow your business, do you have to go to brand school? Do you have to get a lot of social media accounts? Do you need to do a whole bunch of paid advertising? I mean, they don't even know where to start, and they're maybe tired at the end of the day after doing their job. Now, at Learn to Become,
maybe they're tired. Like they're tired. Like they're on their feet. They're working hard, 6, 8 hours, whatever their shift is. So yeah, it's a lot to try to say, okay, now I've got to process how to run it and how to grow things.
Right. And I've gone through some of your like email messaging, listened to some of your podcasts, and I'm not a hairstylist, so I feel like I'm a little out of your club. But I love following you on social media and watching what you're doing, because I think the principles of what you're teaching apply to everyone, whether you're trying to be a better parent, whether you're trying to be a better real estate agent, whether you're, an entrepreneur or you're a school teacher.
You're improving how you're homeschooling your children, whatever it is you're trying to do, you're wanting to become better.
And so we want to just have you tell us a little bit more about your story and how you have this mindset. Because before we recorded, Eric and I asked, were you just born with this, or is this something you developed? And this morning as we were talking, we said, if she was just born like that, it's going to be super discouraging to our community.
Everyone else listening in her community and our community, it's like, oh, Britt's just a natural. I'll never be able to do this. But I had this suspicion because I think, all of us come from a place where maybe we have some initial gifts or ability, but there's an effort, right? And it's got to be a conscious effort and applied, energy to it to develop those skills and abilities that help us to grow and become. So, yeah, before we kind of started recording, I'd ask Britt, did you always have this, or did you have it maybe to a smaller or lesser degree? And did you build that, or how did you build that? And I think that'd be invaluable to both of our audiences listening here.
So take it away, Britt.
Well, the great news is that I definitely was not born with it. And I didn't come from any special circumstances. I grew up in a very average family. April and Eric, I don't know if you get asked this often, but people ask me often if either of my parents was entrepreneurs, particularly my dad. People say, oh, was your dad a business owner? And no, neither of them were. My mom was the very typical stay-at-home mom raising my sister and I. And my dad had just a 9-to-5 tech job. We live here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I was raised in a way that I was supposed to go to college and live a very traditional life, but that at some point I should just find somebody to take care of me. And I truly think that both of my parents had the best of intentions. I think that they just saw, a very traditional value system where the woman would just stay home and take care of the home and the man would go to work. And because that worked for them, that was projected onto me. And my parents divorced when I was 14. I was a freshman in high school, and I watched my mom struggle hard. And not because my dad left, he was still very much involved. I was very close with him, but because she was now on her own trying to support herself after not having worked for a decade.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And it was a real struggle. And I am so in awe of everything that she did to overcome that. And when the time came that I decided to get I call it my first big girl job when I was 18, I was hired at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company in Half Moon Bay, and I was working as a main dining room hostess there, and I met my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband. We've been together for 17 years working at the hotel. He was a valet. I was a restaurant hostess. We had this very adorable, hotel romance. And when I first started dating him, my mom told me, Brittany, just don't waste your time with this guy. What you need to do is use this time wisely. You're at this beautiful hotel property, meeting wealthy man all the time. Find somebody who can just take care of you for the rest of your life. And it was in that moment where I thought, this cannot be all that I'm made for. If I want to have everything that I dream possible, I wanted the very traditional American dream of the house with the picket fence and the dog and the kids. And I have all of those things now. I'm so thankful for them, but I created all those things myself. I never sought out somebody else to make those dreams happen for me. And it was in that moment that I realized a lot of people do truly think your circumstances define the end result. It's kind of whatever cards you're dealt are going to be the life that you lead. And it was in that moment I thought, oh no, this is a pivotal moment. All the choices I make from this day forward will determine the life that I have. And it was from that time I was 18 that I realized, oh no, if I want to live that life with the picket fence and the dog and the kids and the traveling and all the things I want, I'm going to have to make choices that push me in that direction. And for the last 15, 18 years, that's what I've done, is just worked really hard to find the resources I need to achieve everything I want and more.
Well, I love that. That is such a beautiful kind of backstory. And if I could suggest a couple perspectives that you'd kind of touched on, but if I could just see if you would agree with this. You know, your mom gave you that advice, and I think you had that drive, that desire to figure out how to do it on your own. But I think what's awesome is what you have done is you found the man who will take care of you for the rest of your life, and he's found the woman that'll take care of him for the rest of his life. Does that make sense? Like you found each other, you knew who you were and for each other. You've grown into that. And I think what you've achieved, what you've accomplished has been a shared dream. I mean, you've talked a lot to us about, you know, Chris and his involvement in your life. And it's awesome because you've been able to pursue your dream and the things you've wanted to do and grow into. He's been able to pursue his dream. He's an amazing firefighter, and that's the dream and a passion he's had. And so you've both been able to be supportive of each other, growing together from those beginnings that some people might have, you know, written off, like you said. But with that commitment, with that growth mindset, you're like, okay, how do we get there? And the other point I would just highlight is it wasn't an overnight success, right? You just didn't snap your fingers at age 19 or 20 and say, okay, we're just going to be successful and have this dream fulfilled. It's been a process of working and of kind of coordinating together, supporting each other to make that happen. Tell me if I'm putting words in your mouth, but it sounds like as we've gotten to know you over the years, that's kind of how the process has unfolded.
That is exactly right. And I love that you said, I did find the man who was able to make all of that possible with me. And it's, to be honest, in recent years that I've realized what our partnership has done for my life. I really did find a great partner in Chris, and we are both very driven. I think like you and April are as well. And it does make a tremendous difference when I'm chasing big dreams that he's like, hey, I'm with you and I'm going to chase big dreams too. And let's make this big, beautiful life together.
And I think it's really important, like you said, because you're not making him chase your dream. He doesn't have to do that. You figured out, what are you both passionate about? And that's one of the messages I'd have, you know, those listening, each of you who are listening, to take it to heart is you are looking to find the things that truly are your passion, your ability, like your gift, and the thing you'd like to develop and grow into. Again, it won't happen overnight, but if you're true to that, like what Britt's doing, what Chris is doing, what April and I are trying to do, you find that passion, you move forward in it. And one thing I would just say as a quick side note is we recognize that not everyone out there necessarily has a spouse or a partner or a supportive spouse or partner. Yeah. But I would just advocate that I think any of these goals, these dreams can be realized for anyone who builds a community of support. You know, whoever that might be, those individuals in your lives, they can really help you establish the trajectory, the path, the goal, the framework to be able to achieve those goals.
I love that you said that too, because people ask me quite often, who is my mentor? And I certainly do have a mentor, but I always say I have a mentor. He's incredible for me, but actually the most powerful relationships I have in my life are with my peers and with the community I've connected with over the years. So it's Eric, it's April, it's a handful of other people that I know I can turn to for guidance, for support, who are like my cheerleaders and just want the best for me, whatever I decide that's going to be. And at least for me personally, it's not my immediate family. They aren't the people I can turn to for that kind of support. I am so thankful to have an incredible partner in Chris that I can turn to for that. But you, April, and a handful of others have been just tremendous to my success. And I'd encourage anybody who's listening to this who doesn't have just a peer-based group of people around you who can rally for you and support you in good times and bad. Oh, the value of that is priceless.
Yeah, we couldn't agree more with you. I actually call it your personal board of directors, right? That sounds very corporate, very official. But find that group that can actually mentor and teach and guide you in the directions, the decisions you want to head in your life.
Well, and also as Eric was saying, you know, not everyone in our Learn to Become community has a spouse or a companion to do this with. I think one of the things I noted about what you were saying is you watched your mom struggle as a single mother.
Right.
And as I've looked at like the kinds of things that Eric and I care about, I mean, I care about helping people get out of piles of clutter because I watched my mom live in piles of clutter and I watched her struggle. And so I'm like trying to create something so people don't have to struggle the way I watched her struggle, right?
Isn't that amazing? Same. Completely the same. And I even look at her now and she's this incredible seamstress. Oh my gosh, Eric and April, if you could see what she makes, quilts, clothing, everything. And I just want to reach out to her and be like, you had this incredible gift, do something something amazing with it. And, she hasn't found that drive within herself yet. I still do have all the faith in the world that she will at some point. But I think even in seeing that made me realize everyone is put on this earth with just some sort of incredible gift or a handful of gifts. And the sooner we can tap into that and be ready to share it with the world and just be open-minded to knowing that we're all here to do incredible and amazing things, the faster we'll all kind of find everything that we're looking for.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe I just chip in there. When you said that, it just made me think of something I just read online a few days ago. And it was just a simple statement saying, someone who has no desire to learn or to grow, nothing in the world can help them. But someone who has the desire to learn and grow, nothing in the world can stop them. Ooh, and I think it's that mindset, right, of what do we want? If we don't want it badly enough, nothing can move us. But if you want it so badly that you'll do whatever it takes, nothing can stop you.
Oh my gosh, so powerful. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, I don't want to keep bringing my mom and I back into it, but even my husband will mention all the time the dichotomy between the two of us. He's like, you both were put here to do incredible things and you're both incredibly talented, but you, Brittany, have the drive in a way that she hasn't found yet in order to chase big things and make great connections and just do whatever it takes to make it happen.
And I love Chris's word yet, right? It doesn't mean she's written off, it can't happen. And a lot of people find they find that purpose, that passion, that drive later in life, midlife, whatever it is. And we actually kind of call it a midlife chrysalis instead of a midlife crisis, right? Where you go into a cocoon state and you kind of redesign, reform, and you decide, okay, it's time. I'm going to do something with the gifts, the abilities, the passion I have. I want to make something of it.
Okay, I have two questions. I don't know if we can cover both of them, but maybe we can touch on each of them. Okay, question number one is about drive. Because Eric and I, as we're raising teenagers and as we work with a variety of people in our community online, plus our community here, like real life, like it's both real life, but so we work with a variety of communities. Can you teach drive? I think this is one of the things that we're trying to figure out. Or can you inspire drive? How do you do that? Or does someone just come with it or not? Because like you're saying, you can never force somebody to want more or to push for more. But I think that there's a lot you can do to help paint the vision, to show them that there is more. So I'd love to hear your perspective on that. And then the second question I have is I want to go inside the black box and find out what you actually did as a hairstylist and what you teach hairstylists that helps them lift above what most people think is just the status quo and the ceiling of what you can
reach. Or how most stylists think and act each day.
Right.
How do you help them raise that vision and what they're looking to do?
Yeah. So those are my two questions.
Oh my gosh, they're like two of my favorite questions. This makes me so excited. So I have a really unique perspective on drive, and I'm so glad you asked that because it's something I ponder all the time. I think that drive is almost like if you can imagine like this like golden gem kind of living deep inside of our belly. And for a lot of people, it's dull right now. It's not glowing, but it's in there and it's waiting. And at some point, something or someone or a source of inspiration comes along and like a little bit of glow starts. And then you keep feeding that glow and feeding it and feeding it. It just grows brighter, 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 and brighter until it gets to a point where you're almost like one of those troll dolls with the gem in the belly button. It's just like glowing and you can't fight it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think for me, that's what drive is. And I think for a lot of people, they can't even imagine it because they don't have the troll belly button and it's not exploding yet. But for those of us who have found it, it's like this thing. It's like it's a part of you. It's this thing that you can't fight. It's almost like having a third arm. Like it just is a part of who you are. Yeah. And it's this beautiful natural resource that you can tap into anytime you want. It's just fully abundant. It never runs out so long as you continue to have faith that it's there and choose to continue to drink out of the pool. It will always be there to serve you. But I do think that it's something that has to be ignited. And often we have to do a little bit of soul searching and continue to find sources of inspiration to kind of fuel that flame. And I think inspiration can come from all kind of places, right? It can come from church on Sunday. It can come from a great family dinner. It can come from going to a great class, reading a great book, listening to a great podcast. But the more you continue to kind of feed that jewel, the glow will start to burn brighter and until it becomes that just renewable resource that you just can't fight.
Well, I love that analogy. Oh, sorry. Keep going, Britt.
No, just those who've experienced it will understand what I'm saying. It's like this endless rush that just serves you so well.
Yeah, I love that jewel analogy. I love, like you mentioned, also kind of the fire analogy, right? Maybe everyone has this store of firewood, but whether they assemble it and kind of light it and then keep fueling it, the potential is there in everyone. So that actually kind of helps answer the question for me in April, because, we talk to different people we associate with, family, friends, others around. You wonder, can you help them create, or can you help instill in them desire? And I think I love your answer that everyone has that potential. I think it's actually a divine potential, and it's just a matter of whether they want to cultivate it and ignite it and then keep fueling it.
Yeah, and it reminds me of the Care Bears, that they would do that. Was it the Care Bear share?
The Care Bear stare.
The Care Bear stare.
And I can't believe we're going.
They would link arms and then shoot out their heart.
Everyone use the power within you and go. Okay, I'm not sure that's drive.
I have to go find a photo of that.
Oh,
okay,
boy.
But here's the other question. Do you think that it's most often sparked by pain? Because what I'm noticing is when someone has a really comfortable life and nothing happens that's hard, usually I'm not saying this is all the time, but I'm saying usually I notice drive coming as a result of experiencing
hardship, difficulty,
something
or pain.
really hard.
And maybe it's a smaller percentage of people who ignite that drive who have maybe more comfortable circumstances. Maybe it's a higher percentage.
I don't know.
That's an interesting question.
What do you think, Britt?
I do think that there's something to be said for that. I did a podcast a while back, and I had kind of looked at some of the most successful people. We look at women like Oprah, right? We're like, oh my gosh, she's so incredible. And she had a really difficult childhood.
Yeah.
And I do think that pain and struggle does ignite the drive. I mentioned to you guys earlier having my daughter at 18. My husband and I had our first daughter at 18 years old. And I remember we would tell people we were pregnant, and they'd go, oh, like it was just the saddest news they'd ever heard. Yeah. And it crushed me, because not for a moment for us was it sad news, because we knew we were going to be incredible and give her this beautiful, amazing life.
You're celebrating your family in this new beginning, and they're like, oh, like I said, kind of writing you off, and it's like you have no idea where this story's going.
Exactly. And I mean, look at us now, right? And it's like that did, I think, ignite the drive for us in what you're saying, and in having my mom tell me, if you'll marry a rich man, you'll have it all. I think it is those triggers that a lot of times help people tap into that drive. And you do see a lot of people who come from struggle who do find that drive a little bit more innately than others. So I'd have to agree with you. I do think that's a piece of it. And to that, I mean, it gives hope to, I think, many of us who didn't grow up in a charmed life, and to just look at your struggles truly as your strengths and see them as a piece of your story, and to really kind of marinate in those things and find where your superpower might lie, or how you can turn those stories of struggle into what fuels that fire.
Yeah, and I think it gives a lot of hope, because when someone's going through pain, if you can think, okay, how can I take this pain and turn it into something awesome? I think that's huge. And Eric and I have just had some really personal experiences in the past couple of weeks in talking with friends who, we knew they were motivated to do good things, but we didn't really know why. And then when you get into these deeper conversations and you find out, oh, okay, you actually went through something really challenging that no one ever knew about. And this is why you're so passionate about it. It kind of connects the pieces where you realize, okay, a lot of times these struggles really are the blessings in disguise. And I know we hate hearing that when you're in the struggle, because you're thinking, this is awful. I don't want to be going through this. But it gives you that ability to then be a strength and a lift for others.
100%. Do you guys ever think back? I was thinking back just a couple of weeks ago. I was telling my daughter about it. I was thinking back to when our little family of 4, we were living in a 2-bedroom duplex. So Chris and I were sleeping on the couch so that the kids could each have their own rooms. And in the moment, I remember being like, this is horrible. I can't believe this is how we were living life. This is just not everything I pictured. And I look back now and I just see those years and those times so differently. Yeah. I don't remember them being so painful or, oh my gosh, I can't believe we put our kids through that. It's funny how those struggle pieces of your journey actually become a really beautiful piece of the puzzle in the aftermath.
Absolutely. Well, I think to that point, we were just talking about the very first house we were ever in. It was a small house, like I said, kind of cramped conditions.
Yep.
But when you look back on those, there were hardships and difficulties and inconveniences and things like that. But at the same time, you realize a lot of what the family became, a lot of the relationships, things that were forged, traditions, cultures, attitudes, experiences, they came from some of those maybe more challenged or a little bit, different circumstances that we lived in or came from. So I think to your point, I totally agree, because
go ahead.
I was just say it just really does kind of forge the character, some of the values, and the memories, the shared memories of a family and of a group.
We have a photo of Aaliyah's her stroller in our bathroom with the locks on because she was like old enough to kick that. She slept in her stroller.
Locks, yeah.
We didn't have a crib for her because we were about to move. We were just finishing school. So, and she slept in the bathroom because we had to move around in the bedroom and the kitchen.
It was a small one bedroom. And
so we had like
creative.
a pillow against the cabinet, and then we had locks on the stroller, and she would sleep in the bathroom, and then we would move the stroller to the living room when we needed to take showers.
Well, I think that's just kind of the element, right? That necessity becomes the mother of invention. I don't know if that was Edison or someone who said that. But when we are in situations that require us to get creative or to, come up with inventiveness,
I like
or creativity, inventivity.
I like that
but then we appreciate what we have now.
Yeah,
I think
it gives you
a
more
lot more
gratitude
because
and
we built
appreciation.
it. We didn't start with it.
We worked and we were blessed. I mean, it's a process of work, effort, blessing,
right.
All kinds of forces come to
not
to bear
taking
there.
all the credit, but saying that it's been a process of building.
For sure.
Right.
Agreed. Completely.
Okay, can we jump to the black box of what you do with hairstylists? Because this is like the reason I subscribed to your emails was because I'm like, what could you say to a hairstylist? I had no idea. I'm like, how do you cut hair better? How do you? I had no idea what you would even teach because I'm not in that.
And
space.
just maybe the transition. This might kind of set up for some things you'll talk about, but just coming out of that drive, desire element. We talked about how do you influence people. I've long believed that like a leader or someone who influences people for good, two really important things they give people or help those people develop is vision, right? Vision for what can be, what they can become, and they help them have or build and find their own hope, right? If they have vision and hope, I think a great leader, a great influencer can help people say, okay, here's what could be, and I totally know you can get there, and here's why. And that gives people hope, and that kind of maybe helps light that fire so they can go. So, Britt, how do you inspire people in that way?
First of all, I love that. It's like with vision and hope, anything truly is possible. Yeah. And to what April said earlier, April, you're always a part of my club, and I love having you hang. So keep hanging out with us because we like having you. I can remember. So again, when I decided that I was going to make big things happen in my life, and I decided that going to cosmetology school was going to be a part of that, it was again the thing where I'd tell people like, oh, and I've decided I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to be a hairstylist. Again, it was like, oh, and again, I was written off as like, oh, well, here she goes, her life of struggle again. She's, the teenage mom, and now she's going to be a hairstylist. Here we go. And I said, that's okay. You'll see. And I can remember sitting.
Okay, I love that, first of all. That's
see.
Okay. You'll see. All right. I love it. Keep going.
You'll see. And I can remember sitting in cosmetology school, and they told us flat out in school that 95% of us wouldn't be working behind the chair within 5 years. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is not a great welcome speech.
No.
But they were trying to inspire drive. I think they were a little misguided, but they were trying to say, if you're going to make this work, you're going to have to work for it. And it's not just about opening and closing the shears. There's so much more to being an exceptional hairstylist. And I remembered that. And the unfortunate thing is they said it, but didn't have any information or education to back it up. So
did they mean that you were going to quit? Like 95% of you would quit? Oh, okay.
And that statistic actually still reigns true, that 95% of those who join the industry never renew their license, which means they don't make it past 5 years.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
It's crazy. And so coming out of school, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want to be a part of that 95%. I want to be the elite 5% who really does make it. And I got hired at just an incredible salon. I'm so thankful that they took me on, and they did provide incredible training as far as cutting and coloring and customer experience. And I remember once I had been fully trained and, turned to my mentor stylist, and I was like, okay, so how do I build this clientele? And they were kind of like, well, you just wait. And in time, it'll all come together. And I thought, what the heck kind of plan is that? What do you mean it'll all come together? What does that mean?
That's not a plan.
That's not a plan. And I also thought, well, I have a 2-year-old at home, so I can't just wait forever. That's not going to work for me. So I got really innovative, and I knocked on doors and sent out mailers. This, I call it dinosaur times, but this is before Instagram, before Facebook, right? You just had to get out there. So, and listen, those things still work today, but I just got out there and pounded the pavement and went to local community colleges and handed out my cards and kissed babies and shook hands and made friends with the lady at the grocery store.
I love
all the
that
things.
industriousness. Yes.
All the things, right? That human connection.
Yeah, you make it happen.
You make it happen. And I feel like that still rings true today in a lot of ways. There's just no excuse to not make it happen. And I was, remember, the mom of a 2-year-old. And so little Emily would come with me. We'd throw her in the stroller and we'd go out and shake hands together. And
that is awesome.
And it's, we make the time. When it has to happen, we just make the time. And
great. We'll have to make sure we hit that in the show notes. When it has to happen, you make the time. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Which is so true. And I know for a lot of us, you guys too, I mean, you've got a full house and plenty of things on your plate. But for the things that are important to us, we do make the time. Yeah. And I think there is a season of life and business where sometimes your business does have to be the thing that takes top priority. Even if for a short sprint, I always kind of look at life in sprints where nothing is a long-term commitment, but maybe for the next 90 days or year, I really have to give my all to this one goal I really have so that the rest of my life can be set up for mega success.
Yeah, a friend of mine actually called that focused imbalance, where you realize that for a short period of time, there's going to be a focus on this little, like if your life has a top spinning and it's balanced well, it might need to lean over this side, this way or that way for a short period of time, but you've kind of identified it and you put boundaries on it, right? So it doesn't become the norm and it tips you over. But yeah, I love that approach.
Well, and although this isn't a podcast about digital marketing, although we know Britt through learning about how you use, social media and podcasting and, being able to do things digitally because it can just help you reach so many more people and help so many more people. I would love to just hear maybe just a few top ideas, not just for someone who's a hairstylist, but for example, I have a friend who is a painter who wants to grow their painting business. We have a contractor who's been texting us saying, hey, I'm looking for work. Do you have anything I could do? What kinds of things, just using even just free social media tools, what are maybe kind of some of the top ideas that you would give to someone, regardless of their profession, but just someone who's starting something to help them to be able to get out there? I mean, the flyers, yes, you can do that. Eric and I, we've done that before too, taking flyers. Online, there's a lot of easier ways to do it. But what are some of the top things that you'd recommend?
Yes, we're so thankful to not live in the dinosaur times anymore where flyers is the way. Instagram, Facebook, Yelp, all these things make it so much easier. I do always tell, my students and beyond that we are living in the digital age, which is a blessing and a curse in some ways because you do still have to show up. And when I look at social media, and for me, social media would be the Nextdoor app. It's Yelp, it's Instagram, it's Facebook. It's anywhere that you can connect with anybody and have a conversation online, to me, is social media. So for the contractor, I would say get on Yelp and actually show up. And this is where I see a lot of people go sideways with things like Yelp, is that they create the profile, but they're not uploading pictures every week. Like if you're a contractor, I want to see your latest project. And I want you to give me some details about it and comment back when people leave reviews and ask for reviews. I think there's a lot of fear around asking somebody to share your work on their Facebook page or write me a great Yelp review. And I don't know about you guys, April and Eric, but if somebody said, Britt, thank you for having us as your plumber. Would you mind leaving me a Yelp review? Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I'm happy to do that for you.
Yeah, and the corollary to that is the worst they can do is say no or say yes and not do it at all, right? And then you're no worse off than for having asked.
Right.
So true. And it's such a simple ask. And oftentimes you do get the yes. And for the painter, it's so funny. I actually have somebody who works on my team right now who is an incredibly accomplished abstract painter. So she's doing that and then also helping to support me. And I love the way that she shows up. So she shows up and shares her work on her social media platforms. And she also shows the behind the scenes and her sources of inspiration. And she does a really great job of what I call being social on social media. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people do like the post and go, like they'll post something amazing and then be like, enjoy. And they step back and don't actually do anything.
Enjoy my greatness. I'm off to other things. But I think that's powerful because that engagement actually kind of connects people to each other. They connect them to that artist.
Well, there's a lot of fear though, too.
Well, there is. But I think what's powerful about that is over time, a community develops around those socially engaged posts where they're part of that community, and now they're building up a following and a growing following of people who love and appreciate their work. So when new things do come out, there's kind of a warm audience there to receive it and to talk about it and even to maybe purchase some of that work. So I love that, cultivating kind of those social connections.
And I don't know about you guys, but like if I comment on a photo on Instagram or something and whomever posted that photo just comments back to me, I feel so seen and valued, and I instantly have more trust in that brand. And I think sometimes we forget to just have those small conversations through social media or whatever efforts we're making. You know, when you meet someone in the grocery store, we forget the power of human connection and how that can really just catapult you to that next level, just having those small conversations.
Absolutely.
I would love to hear, I just have maybe two more questions. One is, what do you do when something goes wrong and you take a hit? And then number two, my final question, Eric, let me know if you have any other, is just kind of some final inspiration that you would leave for the community and for all those who are listening. So I'll clarify my first question a little bit more. You know, you talked about how when people said, oh, you're going to be a hairstylist. Yeah, good luck, whatever. And you're like, oh, just watch, you'll see. Okay, so what happens if you say, just watch, you'll see, and you've got this energy and you've got this vision, but then you take a hit because something goes wrong, and you and I and Eric, we all know things go wrong and all you take hits. Like, this is a constant thing. Something breaks, or someone says no, or you try something, you invest in something and it doesn't work. What's your thought process when you take a hit?
First, I have my temper tantrum, and then Chris talks me off the ledge, right? But I really do think, and I think this comes through experience, where I look at all the stumbles I've had. So I tried to open my own hair salon, not once, but twice. This was about 8 years ago now, and both times it failed. And I knew I'd be a great salon owner, and it just was devastating to me. I was like, I know this is what I'm supposed to do, and it just keeps like being a slamming door in my face. And it was embarrassing because like you had said, I had told a lot of people I was going to do this, and now it felt like it was slipping further and further away and would never happen. Yeah. Meanwhile, I was being asked all the time on the side from other salon owners, hey, Britt, can you come coach us? We have some questions for you. Would you be our consultant? And I look at my life now, I can't imagine owning my own salon. I love what I do. And I think sometimes we see things falling apart as this horrible disaster, when oftentimes something better is just waiting around the corner. And I understand that sounds like fluff until you've experienced it. Right. But I'm far enough down the road now where even when I get so frustrated when that thing I thought was going to be perfect doesn't come together, hindsight's always 20/20, and I can always see those, you know, disasters as blessings down the line. And so I always just try and tell myself, it's this or something better. It's this or something better. And when it does go sideways, I have that kind of peace of mind to know it's okay. Something better is waiting for me on the other side.
But that's a huge mindset piece right there, a foundation that you'd had to probably wire into yourself. It's this or something better, because I don't think all of us have always felt like that. Most humans, I don't think, come naturally. Or
most humans say, see, it really wasn't going to work.
Right.
Right.
But you just got to change the mindset. I mean, a little bit of mental shifting can do wonders for your reality and the life ahead.
And while we're not going deep into all the behind the scenes of your business, just for those of you who don't know Britt yet, she has grown an amazing team, an amazing business. She is thriving. She's doing great work.
And an amazing community where almost every salon you go into, if you say the name Britt Seva, they will know.
Did you say Britt Seva?
Is it Britt Seva?
Okay.
Either one works.
Either one. They're
like, how do you know her? I feel like a superstar. Seriously, whenever I talk to someone, I'm like, do you know Britt? We actually have
Britt Seva t-shirts made, and we wear them. Oh, we go around.
Gosh. And well, to echo what you said, there have been so many people in my community, April, who have said, hey, Britt, you should check out April Perry. I think you guys would really get along. I mean, dozens of times. And I'm like, oh, I do know April, and we do get along. So thank you.
That is awesome. Wow.
Okay, so then final kind of some words of encouragement, because I'm hopeful. I mean, this is the reason why Eric and I are sitting down here and why we invited you on, is that we're hopeful that those who are listening right now are thinking, okay, like maybe that little fire inside of them is starting to, burn a little bit brighter. Maybe something that's felt like it was dormant now is starting to get that light. But there's probably some fear, thinking, but what if I've tried before and I've failed? And what if I'm just setting myself up? What if I'm getting all excited about nothing? And I get it. I've been in that fear before as well. What would you say?
Well, just to add to that before Britt answers the question, is that the reason I think we're asking this is for everyone. Each person who's listening to this episode, is that we're asking this question because we live in a day and age now where it's possible to discover the thing you're passionate about, that you're joyful about, you're good at, or want to become good at. And more now than ever in the history of the world, there are markets and sub-markets for these things. So if you want to pursue that as a possible new career or occupation, or if it's just something you want to get into as a hobby, or just do because it's the thing that brings you joy. It has never been more possible because of all the resources, the advances, technology out there. Now, I'm not suggesting everyone should go just chase whatever crazy dream that might be out there. You've got to validate it a little bit. You've got to prove that there's, a market, that it would be profitable and beneficial. But I think so many times the human instinct is to just turn away from opportunity because we believe it would be hard or wouldn't be possible, because there are so many naysayers out there. So I just give that as context to April's question. I'd love to hear, Britt, would you tell your audience, the people that you work with, kind of how you inspire them?
I love that question because everything seems impossible until it's done. And oftentimes we look at our crazy ideas, or like you said, our hobbies or our passions, and we're like, well, I could never do that, or nobody would care about that, or what's the point? And it's like, well, until you test it and you go for it, you'll never know.
Right.
And one of the cross checks that's really helped me is I think, in 5 or 10 years, if I don't do this right now, will I regret it? And sometimes it's like, yeah, probably not. I probably don't really care either way. But it's like, will it be the one that got away? Will I always wonder if it would have been the thing that would make me happy? Do I think it's worth the chance? And when we look at people who have great happiness, or what I call wealth, which to me is like love, health, plenty of time, and abundance of all those good things, they were the ones who took a chance and were just willing to put it on the line. And if you're not even willing to take a chance, how will you ever know if it's the right thing or not? And if you talk to anybody who's truly happy or successful or wealthy, they'll say they had plenty of failures on their way to success.
Right.
But just don't be afraid to at least take a chance.
Yeah, put it out there, run a little bit of a risk. And I think that idea of failing fast, allowing yourself to know if it is not working, then okay, move in a different direction. But you'll only ever know that if you tried it, right? You've got to put that first foot forward.
I love it. Okay, so for those in our community, hairstylist or not, who want more Britt Seva in their life, because I know I want more Britt Seva in my life.
Everyone should want more Britt Seva
Where
in
can
their
we
lives.
find you?
Oh my gosh, I just love you guys. I'm mostly hanging out on Instagram, so if you find me at Britt Seva, you can send me a DM there, or like I said, comment on any of my photos, and I would love to connect with you all. It's been so amazing to spend today with you. Thank you for having me, you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Britt.
Thank you so much for being with us today. I hope that you loved this conversation with Britt as much as Eric and I did. I'm so grateful for her and grateful for the ideas that she shared. Just 2 more pieces of information before we close. Number 1, we want to help the hairstylists of the world to learn more about Britt. Now, while everyone here at Learn, Do, Become isn't a hairstylist, most of us have someone who cuts our hair. So we have created a little image download on our show notes page, learndobecome.com/episode 70, episode 70. You can just save it to your phone and then you can text it or airdrop it or whatever you want to the person who cuts your hair. So come do that. Really fun because it's going to give the person who cuts your hair a lift in growing their own business, which is pretty awesome. In fact, Eric and I were with our team in the Dominican Republic a few weeks ago with Mentors International, which is an organization that helps people with education and training and microloans so people who have lived in poverty can be lifted out of that. And one of the organizations that they work with in the Dominican Republic is amazing. It's a school where women who have lived in really challenging circumstances and who want more education and want to be able to support themselves with better jobs can come and learn how to do computer skills, or one of them was how to become hairstylists or how to do manicures and pedicures and things like that. They had a whole salon set up. And I was so excited talking with a woman who trained there, and I showed her Britt's Instagram and said, you need to just click on this and translate it into Spanish and use this because Britt knows what she's talking about when it comes to building a business. So these girls who are coming and who are learning and who are so excited to build their businesses can now have more support. I was so thrilled. I was so excited. I had to message Britt afterwards and said, oh, I'm so excited. I got to tell them all about you. That was pretty fun. Okay, so that was number 1. Come to our website and get that image and share it with the person who does your hair. Number 2, if you don't know what we do yet, here at Learn to Become, we help people to create these systems, right? The STEP Command Central, STEP stands for Steps to Everyday Productivity. The STEP Command Central helps you actually create a seamless system to manage emails and tasks and projects and papers. Now, Britt is actually a member of the STEP program. She's done the emails. We actually sat down at one of the retreats that we were attending together and walked through project creation in Asana. She's totally organized. She's doing awesome with her business. It was really fun to get to show her the things that we do here at Learn to Become. I want to
show you as well. If you're not yet a member of our STEP program, we have a free class at learndobecome.com/step. It's my vision to have a STEP command central on every desk. So I'm working towards that. And then what we talked about today with Britt, more about life architecture, how you actually structure your life, how you create that growth mindset, how you move forward even when things are hard. This is going to be discussed more in Eric's life architecture program, which is coming soon. I'm so excited about it. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for all your amazing work and for all that you do in your homes, in your families, in your personal lives, in your communities, in your businesses, in your organizations. All of us working together, that's what makes this world amazing. So glad you're here with us, and we will see you soon at learndobecome.com.